Have you ever been blamed for something just because you were born? Growing up, I noticed Dad's hands would shake whenever someone mentioned family reunions. He'd excuse himself to the bathroom and come back with red eyes. Mom would quickly change the subject. Every Christmas, packages arrived for my sister, Lyra, from relatives. Cards with $20 bills, stuffed animals, books. My name was never on anything. When I asked why, Mom said they must have forgotten. But you don't forget the same kid for 15 years straight. At school events, I'd see other families, grandparents cheering at soccer games, aunts and uncles taking photos. Our section was always just Mom and Dad. When friends asked about my extended family, I'd lie and say they lived far away. Dad's phone would ring at dinner. He'd glance at the caller ID, his face would drain of color, and he'd send it straight to voicemail. This happened 3 or 4 times a week. When I asked who kept calling, he'd mutter something about telemarketers and pour himself another drink. Lyra got invited to cousin Aria's Sweet 16. The invitation was addressed to the Merrick family, but when we showed up, Uncle Darian pulled Dad aside. They had a heated, whispered conversation by the coat check. We left before the cake was even cut. Facebook made everything worse. I could see my cousins posting pictures from family gatherings. Birthday parties, graduations, holidays, dozens of relatives I'd never met, all laughing and hugging. Lyra was in some photos from when she was little. I was never there. When Grandpa Elias died last year, we found out from Lyra's friend who saw it on Instagram. No one called us. No one told us about the funeral. Dad locked himself in his room for 3 days. I could hear him crying through the walls. I started asking direct questions. Why don't we see Dad's family? Mom would get flustered, say it was complicated, that some families just drift apart. But Lyra pulled me aside one night. She remembered things I didn't. She remembered being at family parties when we were really little. She remembered suddenly stopping going. The breaking point came when I applied for colleges. I needed family medical history forms filled out. Dad couldn't answer basic questions about his side. When I pressed him, he snapped, "Just put unknown for everything, okay?" That night, I heard Mom and Dad fighting downstairs. Mom was crying, saying something about 17 years of this silence, and when does it end? Dad kept repeating, they made their choice, over and over. I started digging through old boxes in the basement, photo albums from when Lyra and I were babies. There were pictures of Dad's family holding us, smiling. Then suddenly, around age 2, all those faces disappeared from our photos. Last week, I found Dad going through those same boxes. He was holding a yellow hospital bracelet with my name on it. His hands were shaking so badly he could barely hold it. When he saw me watching, he tried to shove it back in the box. "Dad, what's wrong?" He sat down heavily, still clutching that tiny bracelet. "Son, your uncle, Jalen, died the night you were born. Uncle Jalen." I'd heard his name whispered occasionally, always followed by immediate silence. "Jalen was driving to the hospital to meet you. He was so excited to be an uncle. It was snowing, and he hit black ice on the highway." Dad's voice cracked. "My family blamed me, said if I hadn't called him so late, if I hadn't made such a big deal about you being born, he would have waited until morning." Every missed birthday, every empty chair, every avoided phone call suddenly made sense. At Jalen's funeral, my father looked at me holding you and said, "That baby cost us our son." My mother never spoke to me again. Dad looked at me with 17 years of guilt and pain in his eyes. "They still blame me?" He nodded, tears streaming down his face. "Some people need someone to blame when tragedy strikes. Unfortunately, that someone was you."